What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Certainly going to skip through the pretenses. I know I haven't done a video in a while, but there is a lot to get through. Watchdog and market oversight firm Empower Oversight obtains additional documents shedding light on potential crypto conflicts of interest within the SEC. Well, obviously, we have seen this coming for a while with all the due diligence and research that all of the XRP community has been putting in. I will briefly read through one paragraph within this. This was put out April 8th. So just pay attention within this, and I'd love to hear your guys' comments down in the comment section of the video. Obviously, I think most people know where my opinion lies. I certainly think that there was corruption. Among other things, this document shows that the SEC Ethics Office cautioned former SEC official William Hinman that he had a direct financial interest in Simpson Thacher. And since he had a direct financial interest in Simpson Thacher, he must remove himself from any matters that would affect that firm. Additionally, the Ethics Office explicitly told Hinman, per the documents, to not be in any contact with Simpson Thacher for any reason. However, Hinman met with Josh Bonney, a partner at Simpson Thacher, at least 3 times after the warning. Hinman also met with the co-founders and investors in Ethereum ahead of a market-moving speech he gave in 2018, which we all know, in which he declared the digital asset Ethereum to not be a security. Despite that, Simpson Thacher's participation in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance was another thing that was certainly within conflict there, which is dedicated to, that Enterprise Ethereum Alliance is dedicated to promoting the commercial use of Ethereum. This obviously raises questions as to whether Hinman fully disclosed Simpson Thacher's role in Ethereum from SEC ethics officials and whether they would have approved the meetings or his speech if he had. The rabbit hole goes deep and deep with all of the corruption that goes on within the Ethereum network. Obviously, not going to knock anybody for holding Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. The integrations are absolutely monstrous. However, we do know, even when you look at the consensus things with JP Morgan, et cetera, that rabbit hole goes very, very deep. I don't think the network is nearly as decentralized as a lot of people assume. And there are a lot of dirty dealings going on, in my opinion. And Hinman's speech, certainly with the relationships that we have seen that he had prior to that speech and the meetings he had prior to that speech, you just allude me to believe that there were a lot of dirty dealings, and I'm sure that there's still stuff going on. Moving forward, though, with Quant, so there was an event that came out probably about a week and a half ago, payments. What can we expect? This is a Chief Product Officer, Martin Hargreaves. I found this quote pretty interesting to me, adding that blockchain-based payments will certainly come eventually, but then he adds on to that, while we aren't going to displace the current payment rails anytime soon, we are seeing nations and regions develop blockchain-based infrastructure to support their citizens with identity, customs declaration, and private stablecoin solutions. I will read that real quick again because I think the identity part gets swept under the rug a lot, and I think that that's certainly very, very important because the main goal of all of this is to tie everybody into a system, right? We're seeing nations and regions develop blockchain-based infrastructure to support their citizens with identity, customs declaration, and private stablecoin solutions. These networks will contain a wealth of personal data and assets, and can eventually be leveraged for next generation payment solutions. Moving forward, this was extremely interesting to me. The UK government setting out plans to make the UK a crypto asset technology hub. Not necessarily surprising. We know how what the UK is doing, kind of how innovative they are within the blockchain space. We know the trials that have occurred all the way back in 2016 with the Bank of England, et cetera, et cetera. The one thing that was really interesting to me within this was other measures announced, which include the commissioning from the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom to begin work on a non-fungible token, or an NFT, this summer as a quote-unquote emblem of the forward-looking approach the UK is taking to review the UK tax system to identify ways of enhancing the tax framework to encourage further development of the crypto asset market. You've literally got the Royal Mint in the UK saying that they're going to be pushing out an NFT. Absolute insanity as far as just how far we've come. If you would have asked me if some sort of an announcement like this would have came out 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said no way. But the innovation and the technology is driving this type of adoption. So It's almost like a slow, and then all at once type thing, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that's gigantic for the Royal Mint literally to announce that they're going to be pushing out an NFT. They're going to frame all of these things around forward-looking approach, et cetera, et cetera. Even the Reserve Bank of India basically putting out that they're establishing digital banking units, or DBUs, so 75 digital banking units in 75 districts. Now, RBI is saying that they're doing this to commemorate the 75 years of independence of the country, but come on. They're doing this because everything is going digital. Finance is going digital. It's just the illusion of what is to come. Illusion with an A, obviously, not I. And just very interesting to me that we kind of see the rhetoric continuing. Also, on the heels of this, multiple governmental large Indian official Twitter accounts being hacked with NFT content being posted on the hacked accounts. Certainly don't recommend going on and clicking on those. I would assume that all of those accounts have been hopefully restored at this point in time and that nobody got scammed out of any funds. Now we have something from the NASDAQ. This is the CEO, Adina Friedman, on the future of the NASDAQ. I don't think I need to explain what the NASDAQ is. They've actually got a nice little table of contents in here, which you don't normally see within these type of editorials. Frictionless trading and market efficiency, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and quantum computing. Now, they talk a lot about friction, the total direct and indirect cost associated with the execution of financial transactions. A lot of people that deal in utility assets like, XRP, QUANT, HBAR, things like that. I think a lot of us know kind of all of the hindrances that exist right now with the legacy financial system, how long it takes for a payment to actually settle, kind of all of the aspects of missing transactions, all of the aspects of fees on the front end, not knowing how much is going to get there on the back end when you're dealing with remittances. So this is total indirect and direct and indirect costs, so overhead, hard nut to crack. But they talk very much so about a more streamlined, agnostic asset class system that is going to be driven by blockchain or a similar big data analytics technology. So there's certainly going to be streamlining the trade settlement process. I mean, that's the whole goal. Within 10 to 20 years, the entire trade settlement process, from the date that an order is executed in the market to the date that the trade is finalized, will be much more streamlined. And I've talked about that before as well. I do think that we are literally in the greatest opportunity of our entire lives, I think, over the next 2.5 decades, I would say. There was a great document that came out by, I believe it's Alex Pentland at MIT. I don't have it in this presentation for you guys, but it's called, you can Google it. Alex Pentland, MIT, it's called From Internet to Interledger. And it kind of lays out the next 3 decades. And there's going to be so many things swallowed by crypto, so many things swallowed by blockchain, so many inefficient markets that just, have their efficiency bolstered up by these technologies that just do it much better, much faster, much more transparently. So it'll be really interesting to see, and I think that there's a massive amount of opportunities, assuming that we don't get regulated out of participating in them over the next couple and a half decades. So I wanted to touch base on this a little bit. I haven't talked a lot about Databricks, but Databricks essentially launching this. This is not DLT as far as distributed ledger technology. This is Delta Live Tables, but I looked into Delta Live Tables. Delta Live Tables is very much so being integrated right within this Lakehouse platform. The Lakehouse platform empowering federal agencies to unlock the full potential of their data to deliver on their mission objectives and better serve their citizens. We can see the Department of Homeland Security, National Intelligence, the Army, the Air Force, Citizen and Immigration Services, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I mean, you can run the gambit. The one thing that was interesting to me that I keep going back to is I think a lot of people might be sleeping on the Alliance Block Databricks partnership. Alliance Block, this was probably a handful of months ago, their data tunnel product. Rashid Ajaja, obviously the CEO of Alliance Block, pleased to announce that Alliance Block was partnered with Databricks, leader in cloud-based data engineering, data analytics, and AI, used for processing and transforming massive quantities of data. And certainly don't think that that's a mistake that they are launching. That Databricks already is dealing with AI and all of these things, especially from government initiatives, et cetera, et cetera. And they would be wanting to, hop on board with something like Alliance Block, because if you're not aware, Alliance Block at its roots and its core, all the way back in the day, was very much so an artificial intelligence-driven initiative. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff plays out. On the heels of that, I think this was yesterday, a $250 million metaverse fund announced by the HBAR Foundation to onboard consumer brands within Hedera. Another interesting thing that we keep seeing, and I had posted this in my Patreon a while back. I think Goldman Sachs may have been the first one. But look at the Hedera Global Governing Council, and we can see DBS obviously on here. Singapore's DBS, this was just a handful of weeks ago, exploring metaverse in a digital push. So we've got Hedera launching a metaverse fund. We've got DBS sitting on the governing board of Hedera. Obviously, DBS exploring metaverse. And then just a couple of days ago, HSBC also saying that they are now launching a metaverse portfolio for wealthy Asian clients. I think once that first bank hit, it was just kind of, just like anything else in this space, it's more of a domino type thing. They're kind of waiting for the first bank or the first financial institution from a legacy standpoint to start announcing that they're integrating with certain things. As soon as the first one does it, you're going to see a cascade of all of them doing it. So now we've got DBS, HSBC, and I believe it was Goldman Sachs. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will. Last but not least, I wanted to touch base a little bit on price action. I was definitely a little bit bullish after we got over the golden ratio multiplier, kind of that bottom fib level, certainly with price action above the 50 and 21 EMA, but we have certainly had a rejection on the weekly. We are back down below. And to me, until we see a mass amount of volume, et cetera, I wouldn't be surprised if we have some sort of a capitulation moment. That is just my opinion. And I'm not looking at that as a, oh my God, what do I do? I'm looking at that as a, oh my God, what do I buy? Obviously not financial advice, but I would be looking at something like that as a massive opportunity for me personally. So if we do see it cross here, the 21 EMA below the 50 EMA, you can look back historically and on the weekly when that has happened. I actually I charted this out for Patreon a while back. I believe that it's about 90 days on average until bottom, and usually we see about a 50% correction, excuse me, from where the cross actually occurred. So let's say we have a cross and we're sitting right about 40K. I would expect prices to maybe go down around 20, 21, 22K. Don't bet on that. Don't bank on ever buying the bottom. For me personally, I'll probably start, if we see prices below 30 or more than likely below 29, 28.5, I will really start to become very interested at picking up some positions in a lot of different assets within this space. Again, the one outlier within all of that data is the March 2020 the COVID crash that we kind of had reciprocations across all markets, and we had a very, very quick recovery. All of these were kind of more drawn out. Took a little bit longer to get back above those moving averages or those EMAs, and then we kind of went and maintained our bull run. If you guys haven't used lookintobitcoin.com, certainly paying attention to the 200-week moving average heat map. We know historically during bear markets, we like to touch base on the 200-week moving average. Interestingly enough, it's right about that $20,100 range right now. And then we've got the golden ratio multiplier as well. We did briefly break above it, but we can see now we're back below again. And there's lots of tools within this website that are certainly valuable, I think, especially if you don't chart a lot. I don't advocate myself to be some sort of a TA guru by any means. I like looking at simple things because I think that the macro moves deal a lot less in gambling and a lot more in investing and just kind of major opportunities within this space. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's going to be very interesting to see how all of this, what I would consider corruption and insider dealings within, former SEC officials. Hinman, certainly the advocation that Ethereum wasn't a security while he was literally meeting with Simpson Thatcher, meeting with members of the Ethereum Foundation. It's almost like a story that you can't even imagine reading because it's like a novel, right? And I'm sure that we have not heard the end of this, so it'll be really interesting to see how everything pans out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plan on doing a lot more videos here since taxes are done for me, or at least extended for me, and I'm just prepaying. So I will talk to you guys later.